I mean, I feel like we need more info, no?
I think so.
And I'm a little. I don't have much else to give, but LG, I have a question for you?
Yeah, I got you. What do you need?
Can I phone a friend here?
You can use the lifeline.
Can I use the lifeline?
Your second show in and you're already using a lifeline?
Millionaire.
I
Who are we gonna
respect
call? I hope he picks up, but I'd love to call the guy that broke the story, Elliotte Friedman, the man with the plan.
Is he going to answer, though?
Is he? I hope so.
He's a busy
There
man.
he is.
Hey guys.
Yeah, look at that wallpaper. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, this is not mine. I'm in a hotel room, so I can't claim credit for this.
Don't lie, Elliotte. Don't lie.
Yeah. Elliotte, what were you hearing on kind of how this all came to be, and how did it end up being Detroit for Kaner?
Well, Jason, I think that in the offseason, there were a couple teams that called him, let him know that when he was ready, they would be interested. I think Florida was one of those teams. I think they were absolutely aggressive right from July 1st to let it be known that they would be interested in Patrick Kane. I think Detroit had let it be known that they would be interested if the fit was right. And I think the other thing, too, is that Kane reached out to some teams as well to say, all right, when I'm ready to play, would you be interested in me? I think Dallas was one of those teams. I think Vegas was one of those teams. And I think Toronto was one of those teams. And, so I'm sure there were more. I have no doubt that teams like the Islanders and Boston poked around too. But over the last couple of weeks, he started to get a lot more serious. He started to narrow down the list. And one thing someone told me on the weekend was that Patrick Kane had indicated before when he was being traded by Chicago, he wanted to go to the Rangers. He wanted to give a shot for the Rangers. But if it didn't work out there, or if he needed another long-term home, Detroit appealed to him. And so I think once Steve Yzerman made it clear that, yes, he was interested, I think that they were a team that really shot to the forefront. There's an opening there for him. They had cap space for him. And what someone else told me on the weekend is that Steve Yzerman, when he decides that he's interested in you, there are fewer, better salesmen. He can basically walk into a room and say, I'm Steve Yzerman, and that works in a lot of ways. And I think that when he and Kane met face-to-face in Toronto, I think he sold him on his vision for the team here. And Kane ultimately decided that it was going to be Detroit over Florida, who I think was also very high on his list.
Yeah, Elliotte, I got a two-part question here for you here. Do you think Stevie Y, do you think he kind of brought in a couple of the veterans, Dylan Larkin, and kind of asked him his thoughts on a Patrick Kane? And then second question, when do you think that Kaner will be in the lineup? Because I think they play the Chicago Blackhawks on Thursday coming up here.
Well, I think to answer your second question first, it's one of the questions is the Red Wings roster. They had to call up Berggren today from the American Hockey League, and they were in a situation where they're at the maximum 23 because Larkin temporarily is not available. So I think it depends on how all of this shakes out. But if Detroit can get to a place where they can get him in and officially signed, I wouldn't be surprised either to see him in that game. I know I have some friends from Toronto who bought tickets today, and they're going to drive down, and they badly want to see Patrick Kane play on Thursday night. As for Yzerman, yes, I have no doubt he asked his players, the top players. Like, also, don't forget, there's a couple of guys on that team. Dylan Larkin is one, shares the same agency, right? So I have no doubt that when the captain of the team is in the same agency as Patrick Kane, that there is definitely conversation between them, and he wouldn't be the only one on that team.
Elliotte, I know we have a graphic of this, of players that have undergone similar, if not the very same surgery, just based on some of the sources that you've spoken with within front offices. What concern is there regarding his health? We do see that it is a one-year contract.
Yeah, I think, Lauren, that there's no question that there's a challenge there for Kane. That's why the agents released the video showing of him skating. I know that there were some teams who went to go watch him skate. They were very careful about admitting who did, but I know there were a few teams that went and sent people there to go watch him skate. the one thing Jason and Scott, this, you can do all the rehab work you want,
Yeah.
but you don't know until you go on the ice in a real game and people are running at you. So,
100%.
I think what they're going to do is I don't know if Patrick Kane's going to be an every game player to start. I wouldn't. Some people said to me that teams said, are you going to be okay with being in and out? Like, what if we decide we want to rest you here and there? And Kane apparently told them, look, I want to do what it takes to play. So I think he understands there's going to take some flexibility here, and I think the teams are prepared for that.